So for this week's quilt story, I'm with my friend Jo Avery, who has personally inspired me with her wonderful and so much enthusiasm for quilting and an amazing sense of colour, which you can see in this quilt behind us.
The first thing I ever did many years ago when I was 10 was English paper piecing with hexagons that my sister Jane taught me how to do. When I sort of moved in with my husband, I wanted to nest, so I went and bought some templates from John Lewis, little metal hexagons, and I started doing English paper piecing again. So it was always my sort of route into patchwork. I did it as a child, and then I didn't do it at all when I was a teenager because I was busy with boys and things, really, going out and having fun. And then as soon as I sort of met my husband, settled down, then I wanted to sew again. And then actually, as soon as I had my second son, I had a huge burst of creativity. It was like my body said, right, you've done it, you've replaced yourself and your partner in a biological way, so you're off the hook. And within a week, I was really being incredibly creative and starting to really make quilts actually at that point. The story behind this is that my friend Donna, a very good friend of mine down in the Scottish Borders, she got very ill, she nearly died, and she had to spend quite a long time convalescing at home afterwards. And I thought, what could I do for Donna for something I could do to help her convalesce? And I knew she liked to sew a little bit. So I thought, I'm going to make a little pack together to do English paper piecing. So I cut out all the papers and I drew up this little booklet, my first book, how to do English paper piecing, and just sort of did diagrams and wrote this all out. And then I went through all my fabric, which I still had quite a lot of fabric, and I started cutting hexagons with scissors, sat at home making this pile of hexagons. And while I was doing it, I was like, I want to do this too. And so I started to make a pile for me. So one for Donna, one for me, and all the fabrics. And I started to make this quilt. And this quilt took me 7 years because I wasn't really doing it very much. I used to just get it out on holidays, or if I was going on a journey or something, so it was nice and portable. There's sort of a lot of the older fabrics that I collected here. So a lot of them have got really a lot of memories in them. Some of these are 30 years old. There's probably even some of my mum's old dresses and things here. So I think it's that love of the fabric. And the reason I did it as well, because it was quite a nice sort of communal, a bit of teaching, a bit of helping somebody else while I started it, and then just re-enthused myself through that. And then all the slow stitching, all the hours I put into it as well, really, and that kind of process I think is really important. It's not just about and it's okay to take 7 years. What's the hurry? You can do other stuff while you're doing it. So I think all of that has gone into this quilt. So pretty much everything I love about quilting. 2002 to 2009. Now, by the time I finished it in 2009, it's all hand quilted. I'd started my blog 10 years ago, and I was really back into quilting. And so I feel this quilt is really important because it's like this bridge between what I call my first age of quilting and my second age of quilting. Before I started my blogs, I was still making some quilts at home and things, but I didn't know anybody else that was really making it, and I kept thinking, this is going to die out with my generation. I mean, I was, young when I started quilting. I was hanging around with all these old ladies, and I sort of went back to groups in my 40s, and they were all still quite old, and I was like, where are the young quilters? And then I found them all on the internet, but I think what's wonderful is to be able to pass this on, pass on all these skills I've got and not have them just disappear. And once you pass them on, then they live on, and then other people can pass them on again. Hopefully some of the people I've taught will be teachers themselves. I think once you get into quilting, you don't really get to the end of it. In that, lots of crafts, I like to crochet, I like to do a bit of knitting, that sort of thing. But I feel like you can go so far with it, and then it's just repetition. You're just making another shawl or another pair of socks. There's a lifetime of quilting to do, and I just don't think I'll ever get to the end of wanting to try new things and wanting to master the things that I'm doing. So I guess it's like a lifetime passion and addiction to me, really.